So, I haven't played Battlefield 4 for quite a while now, but I wanted to share some more gameplay from it and talk about the game in general for what it is, what it stands for, and how it compares briefly to some of the new games. So I played it only a few months ago, and I mostly played solo, but overall it was quite an enjoyable experience, apart from having to spend ages waiting in the queue of the few active remaining servers, or just waiting for the server to fill up anyway. I really enjoyed Battlefield 4 overall, and kind of brought me back to the Bad Company 2 days. It kept me occupied for a long period of time with only what seems a few problems throughout. However, a lot of people did complain about Battlefield 4. I forgot about quite a lot of the problems from back in 2013. I think one of the biggest problems is it had such a rocky launch. The game was basically unplayable on launch, with random disconnects from the servers and most of the time not even being able to connect to the servers at all. So at launch I know the netcode was completely screwed, kind of like PUBG is today. There was certainly a lot of one-hitting going on. They did try to patch this a lot of times, including updating the servers to try and address the rubber banding that we was getting. And a lot of other players were getting this too. The problem was fixing this was a constant battle, and I'm sure this led to more and more frustration from the players. Everyone starts to see the negative in the game after such a long time. You only need to scroll through the update history to see countless patches and hot fixes to address the stability, performance, netcode, the rubber banding, to see why Battlefield 4 was loved by many and hated equally just as much. DICE on December 2013 even created a tracker for the top 22 Battlefield 4 issues. I think it was a good step in trying to fix the game, but I mean 22 issues is quite a lot for me. But like most devs these days, it's too little too late. They didn't thoroughly check the game and put it through the necessary testing, and that just pushes people to the edge of frustration. We all know about the memes of Star Citizen, however at least they haven't launched the game yet like DICE did with Battlefield 4. As it seems most of the devs these days want to just launch as a way of using the paying players to beta test their game for them. However, in terms of Battlefield 4 compared to Planetside 2, at least they have a large enough dedicated team behind them that can and will eventually fix all the issues over time. The Planetside dev team sadly just isn't large enough to do all the work needed to make the game what it is and come into all our hopes and dreams currently. Anyway, back to Battlefield. Another update from December 2013. EA announced that they were stopping all expansions to so-called sort out all the issues of the game. The problem being the netcode patch for multiplayer wasn't patched until June 3rd the next year. So did they really sort all this stuff out they said they was going to do? I mean, they didn't really do a lot of sorting in my opinion if it took that long. Just, I don't know, like, how hard can it be? I mean, surely the game is ready to launch. I mean, how long does it take for you to fix some netcode issues? I know PUBG's taken since launch and it's still garbage, but that's not the point. Problem with the player base having to wait for these to be fixed as well is it generally causes more damage than good. When you're basically playing on a broken game for a long period of time, it's only going to build the frustration as well. Besides that, the background game development issues, the problem any Battlefield or multiplayer game for that matter has is that it's more enjoyable when played with friends. And a lot of mine refuse to play Battlefield 4 for the various reasons mentioned above. Then you have the reasons that people don't like the gun mechanics. I mean, I wouldn't say it was a snap shooter, but certainly a few people didn't like how some of the servers were more hardcore than the others. Now, should they have got so-called good and learned to play at the level, or just general got better at the game? Or should they have just left so early into it? I know for sure that with the launch of Battlefield 1, so many players left Battlefield 4 for it. And in my opinion, Battlefield 1, however much it being based on World War 1 is such a good idea, multiplayer is such a horrible game. Most of the mechanics are such a horrible thing to even put in a game. I mean, when an entire team can own all the vehicles and planes, and the other just spawn at the camp and get spawn killed over and over, And they can't do anything else about it. Unless you're relatively organised in a squad, it really does make Battlefield 1 worse than Battlefield 4. I've been looking forward to some Battlefield 5 ever since it was announced, but because it's EA, I'm obviously cautious about pre-ordering, let alone even playing the game when it launches. EA and DICE haven't exactly been great with making games or publishing and promoting them recently. We only really have to look at Star Wars Battlefront series to realise how much of a fucking shit show that was. I realised with the announcement of Battlefield 5 that it looks like things are going to change a lot from Battlefield 1. I still don't trust it, and I don't really think Battlefield 4 was that bad. I know some of the infantry maps were a bit cheesy, especially Metro, that you see for most of the footage, but honestly, if they make Battlefield 5 very similar to Battlefield 4, but with the same mechanics, it'll be a much better game than Battlefield 1 ever was. The biggest problem we face, though, is we are somewhat limited on choices. Obviously, we have Battlefield, we have Planetside 2, we have Call of Duty, all the sort of the big boys out there. Apart from that, we don't really have much of anything else. I know there's a few sort of indie devs pushing a few FPSs here and there, but they don't really get a lot of attention because, you know, half the people that play games really are kids, and they kind of keep pushing the Call of Duty series. So I don't know. We're certainly going to see what happens in the future and whether it's gonna allow us to progress better with gaming. Whether there's going to be a new upcoming company out there which is going to take Battlefield by storm. I know there was talk of some games being developed and they're looking at competing against the Battlefield series. I kind of hope that Planetside would have done something already to make a smaller scale, more arcadey style battleground that people can just jump in, play the game. It's very linear conquest type thing. Then it's just easier for people to play the game. I think that's one of the biggest problems with Planetside. It's just not easy to just jump in and play the game. You know, you have to unlock everything. Tanks, you have to search so much. At least with the unlock system in Battlefield, it was you progress and then you unlock things like sites and stuff like that, but you don't have the grind to do it. I mean, I think Planetside could be so much better than Battlefield throughout if they just made it easier for the newer player. At the end of the day, they should have always pushed cosmetics over the grind. I mean, no one wants to grind. No one has time. You come home from work, you do 40 hours do an 8-10 hour day or whatever. You come home from work, the last thing you want to do is work even harder. You know, if you want to do working hard, you play an MMO. You don't play Planetside. You know, you just want to go and shoot mans. I mean, that's all we ever wanted to do, was just shoot mans. And they just made it harder to do this, so we can see. I mean, I am optimistic for Battlefield 5. I'm very optimistic for a remake of Planetside 2, at least in the style of the Battlefield series, but I mean, the devs just don't seem to have the same opinion or mindset of what we do, and I suppose the funding's not there either. But if they had a smaller game to maintain, then it would be so much easier. There's so much wasted effort gone into the free continents. I mean, Hossing, half the player base don't even like Hossing, so we can see. That's the main thing. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this video. Obviously, there's going to be a bit more footage that you can watch the rest of. So be sure to keep watching and check that out. And as always, appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. And I'll catch you in the next one for sure. Oh, I landed it. GG.
Where are you, Nico? Let's do it. I'm gonna meet you out in the open.
Oh, that's a chopper. Oh no. Oh fuck. I tried to land on your carrier and the fucking chopper spawned in front of me.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh my god.
You know what's terrifying? I know it's a trap.
Can't see me. Did you crash?
No, that was that other guy. I'm on foot, man. I'm looking for you on foot.
Here's Johnny. Eh?
Kid. I knew. Oh, that was.
Oh, fuck it. Oh, that's so good. That's so funny.